the image of Santa Claus that you have here, which we're never quite sure where he actually comes from, what mythos did you maybe tap into with that? And was there any kind of research that you did, or maybe ready-made knowledge you already have for that particular backdrop for Santa Claus that inspired you to depict Santa Claus in the way that you did?
Well, his origin is sort of deliberately vague, although people can draw their own conclusions. But the origin of where I started in developing this character and this story itself, I never set out to write a book. It wasn't my original intention to write a book about Santa Claus or even a Christmas horror story. The original conception was I wanted to write a Slenderman story because I love Slenderman. He's like one of my certainly my favorite monster. I think the last 20 years. It was a fantastically creepy creation, and I know there have been plenty of books, and there's even been a film, and I never saw the film. I saw the trailer, and I read a synopsis, and I read about people that were really disappointed in it, and it kind of bugged me because I was thinking, well, they've got wrong the idea of what Slenderman is, and if they've done this and they've done that, they're just sort of bugging me over the course of the evening. I was, well, how would you write a good Slenderman story? And they set it with a bunch of teenagers getting involved with Slenderman, and I was like, well, see, it wouldn't be teenagers. Maybe they would be sort of secondary characters who would come into it. It would start with actual children, because that's in the mythos. Is children are the ones who are guided into the woods by Slenderman, and he promises them all kinds of things. And I was kind of thinking about, well, how would I do a knockoff Slenderman story, and not, and what creature could I create that everyone's not going to come back on me and say, well, that's just a rip-off of Slenderman. It's not even that. So it occurred to me, well, who's capable of doing all these things? Who's capable of winning over children and convincing them to do anything he wants, in even terrible things, and promise them the world and all this. And it just occurred to me, well, Santa Claus. And the thing about Santa Claus is that we tell children that he's real. We tell children that monsters aren't real, and they're free to believe in God or not, for the most part. Depends where you're raised. Sure. And the fairies aren't real, and monsters aren't real. All this other stuff that they're told about is not real. The one thing that is real is Santa Claus. And we're very, very clear about that, and we even provide evidence. There's right. They wake up in the morning and there's all these toys and stuff that they send letters to Santa Claus, and they get toys in return. They put out milk and cookies or mince pies, and in the morning
the cookies are always eaten, and
crumbs left. Like we did, we would leave carrots on the front step for the reindeer, and even the carrots would be eaten. So absolutely convinced. You would be as a kid. I certainly was.
Oh, me too.
And then they tell you that everything else is fake. All the other sort of superstitions and stuff is all just made up. The tooth fairy is not real, but Santa Claus is, and they continue to tell you this for years. And so, if Santa Claus suddenly shows up to you as a 8-year-old or a 9-year-old and says, here I am in the flesh, and you're going to get everything that I promised you and much more. You just have to do this little thing. Just go to all you got to do is just go to this house and kill this person, or or leave a window open for me, or like turn off the electricity, pull out the fuses, sabotage this person's car. And then he's an evil entity dressed up in the clothing of Santa Claus, who has an army of children around it. And in this story, he takes it a step further, because once he's got them, he can actually start changing them sort of more psychologically and physically as well, and they can become more than his soldiers. They can become little versions almost of him. So that's where the idea came from. And the rest is really the fact that he's able to utilize images and associations with almost like psychic magic, just turn all of the imagery and associations of Christmas to his advantage. But the question of who's actually behind the cloak, the creature that's doing all this, is deliberately left. That would have required about 6 books to go into all that sort of stuff. So the main thing is the disguise that he wears.